Highland Youth Soccer. And if that be the case, then they need to expend whatever money that they're putting into this field, okay? They need to let us know what they're paying, why the township is even accepting money from them. That's a private league, I understand. It's not part of the school. That's a private hockey organization. And for them to tell these gentlemen that they're not wanted on this field is absurd. I'm offended, okay? And I'm ashamed that our township would treat people from another country, another nationality, the way they did. Locking the nets and having public service have to physically come and help and cut the nets, the chains off the nets. That's not theirs. It belongs to the township. Those are public, it's public property. Those are public items. They belong to the public, the taxpayers, okay? They're here tonight because they need to understand how our government works, okay? If you have something in writing that can tell these gentlemen A, B, C, D, E, F, G, how to get the permit, what days they can use the field, if there's a schedule or a calendar that the recreation department maintains, let them know, okay? So that going forward, if they go there, they'll know we have this time, or no one's there, and we can use the field. No one's going to call the police on them, and just, you know, it's wrong. It's like a harassment. You make a person feel bad to even come to that park, and it's a beautiful park. Everybody's using it. Yesterday at 4 o'clock, there was nobody there. They say they went to Glen Landing, and they lost like 3 balls because they went over a fence, and it says no trespassing. There's no public bathroom, and Mr. Fagan sent them there. Okay, so I really would appreciate it if you guys do what you can. Reach out to them and get whatever you have in writing. If there's a handbook for use of recreation facilities, please get it to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Matthew Meza, 310 Quaid Road. Just to add to what Mr. Usman said, yesterday we lost some balls, and as a matter of fact, one of the balls was thrown by a big dog. So if we didn't have extra balls, that means what we were trying to do yesterday, the people that came over will not be able to do. So I think this thing should be looked into.
And we're doing that. We're going to contact Mr. Will. Can we have your address before you leave, sir?
Okay.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good evening, Lady Gilbert from Reserves at the Cobblestone. Just came in tonight because I have a youth ministry. I was also honored here like around 2009 for helping the young people. I was at a facility, been there for like 4 years with the young people. It's something I do. I want to give back to the community because where I live, I pay $11,000 in taxes and there's no recreation. We had a young girl die in the lake, which I'm sure the board remembers, Haja. She died over there in the lake. And when that event happened, before that happened, I was working with the young people. I have a place that we were at in Washington Township, and they basically ousted us. The gentleman that was there, which was, I guess, at that time, his father died. Once his father died, they ousted him and everybody that was there. I had a door closed on me, and I got little, and I have a diverse ministry. I have black and white children in this ministry. So I have white children trying to get through a window to get into a ministry, to hear something spiritual. I have 5 young people that tried to commit suicide, but because of the ministry they didn't. And then I have young people that's coming in there saying they waited all day to eat. Now I have no place to take them. I took them back into my home. There's no place for me to take them as far as recreation around here. I take them into Camden to go roller skating. I don't know what to do. I'm coming down here now and I'm asking who can help me. I've been doing this on my own from my tithes, giving back to the community so that we can have children that are going to be productive in society and that we can sleep at night and they not be trying to rob homes or go and knock somebody upside their head to get their pocketbook because the summer there was no jobs and I'm trying to do all I can. Now I have no open door. And I just want to know who can help me to get something established because I'm willing to give my time. I'm willing to continue to help these young people. You can get the testimonies of their moms and different ones, that the results that this has had. I don't teach no Bible study as far as being denomination. I teach them about the love of God and loving people. And I have no place to take them. I'm in my basement, and I have no recreational place to go. So, I mean, and I've been living here for 11 years paying taxes, doing something for the community, and I need the township to help me to do something so that I can continue doing what I'm doing and hopefully do it on a bigger scale, because the results are really great at this point, but I'm at wit's ends.
Pastor Gilbert, what are you looking for? A facility, a building?
Yes, that would work. Anything would help me at this point. You know, these young people, they want a place to come to. They have friends. They're constantly inviting friends. I'm swamped in my basement, and I'm feeding them out of my own pocket, trying to do what I can. And these are 18, 17. They're going off to college, but then I have also, as far as them coming in as early as 7 and 8 years old. And it's like about 50 of us, and we have nowhere to go. So I'm coming down here at the help of the township, that, you know, to let you know I need help. I need somebody to help me now. I've helped the community. Now I need someone to help me.
Have you, with the recreation, you talked about recreation having a facility, you identified your problem. Is there something that you have in mind?
Yeah, I was hoping that there might be a building that's abandoned or something that's not being utilized, that I might be able to take the children in and utilize it and use it. I mean, the place we were at, we were paying them, and then they came to me with wanting more money and different things, and I just couldn't do it by myself. I'm doing this by myself. And you honored me down here almost 4 years ago, and I'm still doing it.
Is it possible we take down your information? Off the top of my head, I don't have buildings to give out to people.
Okay.
The township doesn't have buildings to give out, but have you reached out to our community or recreation department at all?
I have. I've reached out to everybody. There's no calls being, I mean, you make the calls and you don't get any return call. I'm also a real estate agent. I've been doing this for 9 years. I mean, I know that there's vacant buildings down here. I know that there's things that we could utilize to even help the community, because even it could even help with the young people having a job in the summer, different things to keep them off the streets.
Is there any thought of partnering with the existing church that has a facility and working together with them?
That's a conflict.
Does it have to be a building? Because other organizations go to the rec center or to the schools to
It could be anywhere. That's fine. They can let me in on a Wednesday from 7 to 9 anywhere in the township, so that I can put those flyers out and tell those young people where they can come, and we can just grow, and from there we can go on. But I mean, right now I'm in my home.
Good point. The school district does allow, you can request to have a location in the school district, but it has to be after a certain hour.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something, I can send you some information, Pastor Gilbert.
Mm-hmm.
You can give me your information, I can forward you that to you.
Okay.
Is there anyone else? Yes, Ms. Klein.
Patricia Klein, Sicklerville. We're 450,000 square feet mall, coming outlet, premium. I have a concern, and my concern is, where's the skating ring? Where's the bowling alley? Where are the things for the children to do? Do we need another mall? We have a Cross Keys Mall that's not surviving, not thriving, not at all. Why are we having another mall come here when we don't have anything for the youth to do? Where's the bowling alley? I believe there was a bowling alley. Why are we going outside of the township to support other skating rings bowling alleys, and all the other activities, when we should have that right here at Gloucester Township. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
I'm going to tell you what I think.
Yeah, tell me what you think.
We have a developer that's had international and 63 outlets with a proven track record. Let me finish.
I'm letting you finish.
33 million square feet. 30 million square feet with their partner. That's coming here on a land that's assessed at $1,700 in taxes.
Okay. How about a skating
Let
rink?
me finish.
Movie theater.
Ms. Klein, are you going to let me finish?
I will.
They're not coming in with a bowling alley, they're not coming in with a movie theater. They're coming in retail outlets, premium outlets.
We should be coming in with a movie theater. We should be coming in with a bowling alley. We could be coming in with a skating ring. We should be coming in and thinking about not the future, they are the present, our youth. We should be coming up with those ideas. Who on the board is coming out with any ideas? I don't see anything that's helping the youth. What are we doing? Come on, somebody has to come up with something. What are we doing to help the youth? Somebody has, no one's coming up with anything. We're not helping the youth. We need a skating ring. We need a bowling alley, and we're going to make sure that that comes here at Gloucester Township. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Yes, sir.
Council President, my name is Daniel Coughlin. I live at River Birch Road in Turnersville. First of all, I echo some of the concerns of the young lady who spoke last, but also some of your comments regarding the 450,000 square feet outlet mall, as well as the pilot program, I think are a mischaracterization, maybe not intentional, and I'm not saying that, but first of all, that land is assessed as farmland now.
That's correct.
Correct. But when it gets approved, it will change to highway commercial, which is a lot different rate as far as a land tax credit.
Correct.
Okay, so it's unfair to say that that's all that land is worth. First of all, that land also, Route 42 is already a living nightmare, and now you want to increase the congestion. Not you again, excuse me. I mean, what's going to happen if that's built there? You're going to increase the congestion and the overcrowding on Route 42. It's going to be more than a living nightmare. It's going to be something out of Dante's Inferno. I mean, we're not even going to be able to, the quality of life. It's not only if you adopt the pilot program, which is in effect a tax abatement, which isn't even a proper use of a pilot program, right? But if you do, it is a tax abatement. If you give the tax abatement, the good citizens of Gloucester Township won't even reap the benefits of all that overcrowding, overstress, overcongestion. It's not a redevelopment zone. That land is farmland. It's never been developed. It is a pristine, virgin land. It's beautiful. A redevelopment zone is for blighted areas that are burned up and boarded up and need to be torn down and need to be redeveloped. That's not what you're looking at there.
Or underutilized.
Well, what happens is certain engineers write studies, and they find a little lonely, farmhouse down the road that needs to be redone, and now they call the whole 55 acres a redevelopment zone. It's not a proper use for a redevelopment zone. You're going to increase the stress and the strain, the mental strain of living in an overcrowded area. Most of us came from Philadelphia and North Jersey to move down here so that we could have a little peace and quiet and have a little land that we don't have to deal with the stress of living in the inner city life. So please, I know your planning board already approved it. Maybe I'm trying to ask you to shut the door after the horse is already out of the barn. But don't go for a pilot program. Pilot programs are for charity organizations like hospitals and universities and research facilities who are tax exempt under federal taxes, and the local township says, hey, give us a payment in lieu of taxes, at least on the property tax, so at least they can get something. But that's not what we're looking at here. You're looking at a retail outfit. You're not. That's not a charitable organization. It doesn't matter how what their success is. It matters what's right for Gloucester Township, what's right for the citizens, what's right for this area. That's what's important. And the idea that it's going to create jobs, I love this. That's like saying, you know what, all of us have to say sick so we keep the doctors and the nurses in business. No, what you have to decide is that a right development for this area? And it's not. It's not. You already have all along Cross Keys Berlin Road, there's a whole new retail outlet stores there. You have retail outlets up there in Deptford. Monroe is going to put in more retail outlets. You got plenty of retail outlets. There's a better use for that land than what you got there. And if you're going to build that, at least don't give a pilot program where the good citizens of Gloucester Township can't even get more revenue for their schools and their services that they need.
Mr. Kaufman, if I said at the beginning of the meeting, when I addressed Mr. DiBartolo's email, that this council is not interested in providing a pilot or a tax abatement.
Well, I'm grateful and thankful that you have that opinion. But I'm just saying, realize that how that is going to impact the area. This patchwork and piecemeal approach that we have to development should be regional. It should not be local. We should be coordinating with other towns like Washington Township or Monroe Township, Winslow Township. Everybody's doing their own thing. That's going to be the death of us. So please, please reconsider the development as a whole, but also reconsider the pilot program. Thank you.
Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro, Ariel. You told us that it is not your intention to be in a pilot program. We spoke of feelings and intentions before. Is Council prepared to put that on paper?
I just told you.
No, are you prepared to put that on paper and at least, instead of intentions, put that solid? Because some of us attended a school board meeting, and for whatever reason, the members of our local school board had no knowledge of abatements or pilots or anything. We also spoke, and Ms. Carr had asked about a liaison to the school board, and as usual, there was no positive response to that. And it was just something you weren't interested in doing, whether it was a separation of the entities, whatever the case may be. I spoke with a gentleman in Pittman, and Pittman has an incredible cooperative going on with their council and both school boards, and it is a bipartisan program that runs. And the school board knows what's going on in council and vice versa. I once again maybe think that would be a good idea, that the council, I mean, you could sit with us. If you're not going to send a liaison, sit with us and observe to see what goes on. Because if this premium super outlet comes to fruition, one of the main ideas would be that they pay the taxes that they should rightfully pay, including school taxes. The schools had put a program together for our children to raise the level to get them back where they belong as they're failing. And as Ms. Klein had asked, she's talking about children, you're talking about retail stores. There is a benefit to the children, and whatever monies comes into our children's education, as they can only expand their budget by 2%, that's less money that the taxpayers of Gloucester Township have to put out. That would work out real well. So it would be nice if this premium outlet mall and all those that will occupy it will make the contributions that are fit for business to come to our township, and including school taxes. Secondly, the pastor's children are looking for somewhere to, and young adults are looking for somewhere to go. Is not the senior center applicable and open for them to have a gathering?
That's why I asked the question if she had contacted the recreation center. They schedule that also.
But as far as council's concerned, that is a group which is the only criteria that can use the facility, group or organization in the township. My other question is just a procedural question. When you voted on the minutes of the meeting, of the previous meetings, there was one abstention. Did you have enough votes to pass the meeting minutes?
Majority of those present voted.
There was an abstention, and my question is, do you need a 50 plus 1?
There was one
Working
abstention
quorum.
for the 22nd, one for the workshop. There wasn't two for the same meeting.
I'm sorry?
There were two separate abstentions. One for the 22nd, one for the workshop. So that would still make it 3.
Okay, and that would suffice for passage, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good evening. Ms. Brown.
Tanya Brown, Saquonville, New Jersey again. Thank you about the tax abatement. I really appreciate that that won't be such like a, a debacle because everybody's talking about it. Cooper owns this land
Yes.
now, and they purchased it from the township for over $4 million.
They did not purchase with the township.
Was the land ever sold?
It was a farm, Nicholson, the Nicholson farm.
Okay, but was it
Private
ever?
owner. Private owner. Township never had possession of that land.
Okay, so they bought it from the private owner,
Yes.
and those tax.
$4.5 million.
Right, and you said it was assessed at $2,830, what I got. And that tax
Yeah,
assessment that you were talking
But
about?
certain lots that they had, the two lots, 13,199 and 13,105, those are the two that are in question here.
Okay, what about '06?
Those 6, they didn't have, I didn't get an assessment amount there,
Mhm.
but if you add all the lots together, there's some outliers, lots to it. If you add it all together, you're looking at $2,200.
Okay,
You and I did our
Yeah.
homework today.
yes, okay. Now, this was, I found this article, I'm sorry. It says that wealthy faux farmers get huge agricultural breaks on their properties because they have them listed as agricultural land, where in all essence, it really isn't agricultural land, okay? It's been developed into what it is now with roadways running through it. Am I correct?
There's a roadway going through it, yeah.
Right, several. But my thing is that what Cooper did to avoid having to pay the taxes to the township by having this property listed all these years as agricultural land since '05?
I'm not the tax assessor, I'm not educated enough on that when it comes to assessing tax or farmland assessment.
Mhm.
I know at the time when Cooper purchased the land, there was a visioning process that took place
Mhm.
in 2006, 2007, that talked about medical facilities, having a retail component upstairs, downstairs, retail at the bottom, housing on top.
Mhm.
They coordinated that with Camden County College, then the recession hit.
Okay. So
That's-
they still only paid $2,300 a year on those taxes. We were all in a recession, I'm behind on my taxes, I'm in a recession. But, I just,
Is it actively farmed?
say again,
It was actively farmed.
actively farmed.
Yes, in order to qualify for farmland.
Well, like I said, that seems to be, this article really hits on it. That's going on a lot. Faux farmers, faux agricultural farmers who avoid paying taxes that everybody else does because they have a horse that's half dead sitting on it and it's become farmland. So it qualifies for agricultural
They have to
whatever.
have some type of crop, in this case.
Okay, a tree or a corn stalk. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Okay,
They have to sell a certain amount and meet a certain income requirement.
okay. That's crazy. All right. Miss Klein, and I was at a meeting, she asked everybody up there, members of council and the mayor, if any of you had any association with anyone from Simon Properties,
No,
Priet Rubin.
no, that wasn't the question.
What was the question?
The question was, if we had any financial interest in the off-track betting site at the
Oh,
former
okay.
Stone Grill.
Okay, well, let me just change my question then.
No,
Do-
again. So, if
You didn't let me
have a question-
finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. Do any of you on council have anything to do with Simon Properties, Priet Rubin, Simon Properties, Priet Rubin, and I think those are the only two. And,
It's Simon and Pritt.
right.
I'll answer for myself, no. Anyone else like to answer?
Why are you asking that?
You want, okay. I'm asking because I want to know if any of these individuals or anyone involved in any of these companies gave any money to any of you or your campaign committee.
I'm not campaigning.
Ma'am, it's not
No,
about
I
when.
don't
I just
think
asked
so.
if at any time, in the Democratic, your personal, individual campaign committee ever received political contributions from any principal or entity involved in the development of that mall, Simon Properties, Pritt Rubin.
I answered already.
You said no.
I answered already.
Okay. Anyone else? No? Okay. Now, I have another question. There's another property that showed up in my research, and this has to do with a property on Sicklerville Road. The address is 1035 and 1051 Sicklerville Road, Vile 2 LLC, for the development of townhomes. And it was approved by Camden County Board of Freeholders Land Development Committee, May 8th, 2013. Did you guys know that?
What are the towns? What's the?
There's townhomes being built at 1035 and 1051 Sicklerville Road, which is right before you get to Burling Cross Keys Road, right-hand side, past the Cobblestone Estates development.
What's your question?
My question is, if anyone on council knew that, and I don't see where there was anything listed publicly that there was a hearing about it or anything.
How many townhomes?
50 plus, it says.
Later, I think there was a zoning board approval
Okay.
that would not come before this council or the planning board that was approved by the Board of Adjustment.
Camden County Board of Adjustment?
No, the Township Board of Adjustment, I believe it's been through those approvals.
Okay, did they get an abatement because it is a housing development? Did they get an abatement?
That hasn't come before us, council. The council has to approve any type of abatement.
This was June 25th. You guys don't know? June 25th, 2013.
They have an a tax abatement has not been submitted to council. I don't even know if they've applied.
Okay, so if the county approves it and you don't have any idea whether you're going to give an abatement, you saying that there's a gap in the process,
The
so,
developer has to apply. They have to apply to the tax assessor, meet certain criteria. The tax assessor forwards it to council, and then council will vote on the tax abatement. There is no tax abatement before the council is responsible.
do you think you'll give them one?
I think I give them one. I haven't even seen an application, but I'm not in favor of abatements.
Okay.
Personally.
So, okay, well then I'm a little confused because you got Camden County doing things and you don't know about, and they're gonna put 50 townhomes in our township and you guys don't know? That's my question, I just wanna know.
It's granted to zoning board approval.
Okay, are you in charge of the zoning board? In any way?
It's quasi judicial.
Quasi judicial. All right. Okay. Well, I have the same question about the political contributions from this company.
No.
No?
May I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Have you received any in-kind contributions to your campaign?
I have no idea. We're so broke, it's not even funny. We are truly broke, okay? We're trying to raise funds.
No pasta or anything?
We got pasta, and I'm sure that's in kind. And you know what? I saw the truck outside too. That was awesome. Good job. They almost canceled this. I had to go and talk to them. Guess I batted my eyes and I won my way.
Is there anything else?
No, I just asked the question there. I got
Thank you
two.
very
I got
much.
your no and I got your no. Not you. You said no? And then no one else is here, so I'll come back and I'll ask the mayor, Glenn, Mr. Bianchini, Mr. Hutchinson, and Mr. Schmidt. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Kwam Dixon. I live at 32 Brookstone Drive, Sicklerville Cobblestone Development. Last year, I appealed my taxes, and it was denied. They refused to lower my taxes. This year, I appealed again, they reassessed my property lower than last year, and they reduced my taxes. My question is, why did they refuse to lower my taxes last year or reassess my property tax last year when the bank said the value of my property is what this, and the assessor that I hired, a public adjuster, said my property is this, but the township refused to go by what the bank or the public adjuster said. But this year they went to what I originally appealed to, and they reassessed my property and lowered the property tax this year, but they refused to lower it last year. What was the criteria that was used to deny me last year? That's number one. Number two, is the property tax going to keep going up again? Because they lowered it this year now, but we don't know if it's going to go up next year.
Mr. Dixon, on your first question, I don't have your assessment here, and I don't deal with tax assessment. I know that Mr. Parliament has dealt with tax appeals.
The procedure on tax appeals, you'll first go through the Camden County Board of Commissioners. A lot of those hearings, depending on the number of appeals that come in, are held here in this chamber. They send commissioners from the county, appointed County Board of Commissioners. There are certain rules of evidence and criteria that they go by also. If they deny your application, then you can file an appeal of that to the tax court in Trenton. But when they evaluate your evidence that comes in, the hearing rules say an appraisal that's used by a bank for a refinance or a purchase goes by different criteria than market value criteria. So if you're looking at an appraisal that you received from a refinance application or a purchase application, that appraisal report, the county board and even the tax courts look at that different than a regular market value appraisal. Township uses market value appraisal. And depending on where your range falls within the, you're asking for a reduction greater than 15%. If you're within that 15% range, I'm sure the county board explains it to all applicants, appellants that come in, that's basically determined to be within a fair range of the local assessor, and they won't hear your application. So I don't recall what happened.
What the township said was, when I wanted to appeal, what it told me was, before I can do a tax appeal, I need to hire a public adjuster who's gonna. I have to come to court to the hearing, so I have to pay $300 for that person to represent me. And when I got to the hearing, they told me I don't need one, but they refused to get all the documentation that he presented, and they refused to hear all the property that was incomparable to my property was about 5 miles away. It has nothing to do with Cobblestone. They did not use properties in Cobblestone. They did not use properties in Sicklerville. They use properties that's 5 miles away in comparing. They use properties that's $1.5 million in value to assess my property.
The township would not do that.
That's what they did in the comparable.
They would not accept your comps. There might have been several reasons for your comps. They might have been bank sales. They might have been non-usable. They might have been distressed sales. They might have been short sales. There's a whole criteria that the County Board of Commissioners and the rules of evidence evaluates whether or not your comp is a fair comp for the community that you're in, and was it an arm's length transaction? If it was not an arm's length transaction because it was a distressed sale, or it was a foreclosure, bank sale, short sale, then the county board does not look at that as comparable to yours because it was not an arm's length fair market transaction. So it's out of context to tell you what took place last year or the past county hearings.
All right, but is the property tax going to keep going back up now, even though I think it's just for a short period of time? But do you think it's going to be stabilized or is it going to keep going up?
Well, the tax levy of the last 4 years have been a 0% increase.
Not on
On municipal.
my property.
On municipal. Am I correct, Mr. Cars, or tax levy? The amount that we have to raise by taxation.
Every year my tax went up for the past 4 years. This is the only year my tax did not go up. This is the only year. For the past, actually since 2002, my taxes have been going up. They started me at $4,900. Now I'm at almost at $11,000.
Within, you have schools,
Yeah.
county, fire, and also the county library.
Okay,
The-
then it comes down to the question of the lady that said, what do we have for the kids? Because every time we wanted to do something, we have to go out of the township. We have to go to Washington Township, we have to go to Deptford, we have to go everywhere to do something, but we don't have anything in Gloucester Township for our family. We don't. We have to go out of the township. And if we're collecting all these taxes, and we're saying it's for the recreation, the only recreation I see is the football field, the soccer field. And even you can't even get access to the swimming pool because it's hidden. There is no information as to if we have a Gloucester Township swimming pool. I can't. Yesterday was the only time I ever found out that we have a swimming pool because it's hidden somewhere. We don't have information as to what we have for recreation for our kids.
That
Dixon, it's
information
listed
comes
on-
out in the bulletin.
It's listed on our township website, and there's signage on Choose Landing Road that indicates where the pool is. And that's something that Mr. Moffa, Mayor Mr. Moffa has done along with Public Works over the last few years, is provide more waysiding signs and signage throughout the township, identifying the different properties that we have in recreational activities.
Yeah. I just think it's a good thing. I'm a businessman. If the township wants to build malls, if they want to do stuff, but I just think they should consider having things that is gonna help the kids. That's something for the youth, because right now we have to go out of our township to go to other township and pay money to their township and improve their township, whereas we don't have anything here. I think it should be something in consideration as to how we can also develop our community, our township. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Have a good evening. Ms. Klein.
Okay, thank you. I thought you were overlooking.
I'm trying to get people who haven't spoken before to have an opportunity to speak.
I have such a loud voice, so I'm going to back off. Patricia Klein, once again, in Sicklerville. I have a question. I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because the last time I came up, I did ask that question about what do we have for the youth. I think that was maybe a couple months ago. And I was given all the athletic sports activities. And that's not going to cut it. We need more. So I'm glad that you recognize that also. Thank you. But I have a question. The question, well, maybe it's a statement. And that is, the malls. You keep talking about this outlet and all the stores and so forth and so on. Are we even considering the local businesses here, how it's going to affect the mom and pop? I used to be a mom and pop store. I had a nail salon on Blackwood Clemington Road. So I know the rents are going up, so forth and so on. And now they're going to have competition with the outlet malls. Are we thinking about our local people and how we can help them move through this transition, the economy situation that we have right now? What are we doing as a township to help people besides, I feel like we're strong-arming them. Every time they want to get something passed, we're strong-arming them. And then when a mall and a builder comes, we just quickly grant. What are we doing to help the mom and pop stores stay in business? Because there are many, many vacant buildings out there, many. Matter of fact, I believe the Super Fresh was a tax abatement. It's been empty for how long? You know what the Super Fresh I'm talking about? Was a tax abatement, and it's been empty and sitting there forever. Now, I've been here 14 years, and I believe it's been vacant maybe 14 years, maybe 12. So what are we actually doing to help the mom and pop stores stay in business? Because there's going to be some competition when you open these premium outlet stores. What are we doing to help them?
One of the things that, when we talk premium outlets, and you said I keep focusing on this 450,000 square feet and 90 to 120 stores. Do you agree this is a big project? A huge project for our community?
I believe it's an unnecessary project.
Unnecessary.
Yes, absolutely. Unnecessary project for our community.
Two nationally recognized firms come in here, don't ask for an abatement, don't ask for a pilot, and want to develop a parcel of land that's currently assessed at $2,200, and you want to say goodbye to that.
We can develop that land, like I said, with a skating ring, a bowling alley, a theater. We can do things absolutely that we do not have to bring in a mall to compete with our local businesses out there. We're putting them out of business. Can't you see? Look at the vacant buildings. Does anyone see what's going on? I mean, we can really do something in our community. And I just want to let you know that there's going to be some things being done in our community. We need to do some things in our community and stop looking at the big picture of a mall. Like I said earlier, talk about the stores on Cross Keys. A lot of them, they're not making it in that mall, the Cross Keys Center, I think it's called. I may be wrong with the name. The things that are prospering happens to be the restaurants. But the other stores, when I go through there, because I'm a Chico shopper, it's always empty. It's always empty. And I'm saying now you're going to, and that's right off, and a lot of people are saying, oh, big, because it's right off of 42. Well, that's right off the Atlantic City Expressway also, and they're not getting any business. So for you to put a mall that's going to compete with mom and pop right in here in our township, who has been here for years after years supporting, I don't see you. Are you cutting their taxes? What are you doing? How are you working with the mom and pop to keep them in business?
I don't have an answer for you at this time.
Okay.
At this time, working with mom and pop businesses.
I don't think, because I don't really think there's an answer.
I also think I'm going to give you an answer. But I also think that some of the items that are being available at these outlets are not available in your mom and pop stores. Are you going to find a Coach bag at a mom and pop store?
Well, guess what?
Find,
I'd love to open one. I'd like to open a little, boutique that has a Coach bag, a Brighton, and all the other boutiques, but I can't do it. You know why? Because you strong-arm people.
How do we strong-arm?
Because I know some people, let me make my statement. I know someone that you have, and they weren't able to open their boutique right here in a salon in this township. We have to be careful. You really have to be careful what you're doing. You're actually blocking people from inspiring to be entrepreneurs. That's what you're doing for the township. And we should be encouraging people to be entrepreneurs in this township.
Absolutely. Ms. Klein, if you're going to make that statement that you're strong-armed the business, what was the business?
Well, I'll give you the business afterwards. I'll get everything to you, okay? Absolutely. But I just wanted to let you know that we're putting people out of business. And hopefully you'll consider, I know that that's a done deal. It's been stamped probably with the outlet. Done deal?
They received preliminary and final site approval.
Okay, so that's a done deal probably. If they want to continue with it, it's a done deal. But I'm hoping that we can come up with something, the township, to inspire our present mom and pop stores that exist, and hopefully we can help them increase their businesses. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Ms. Carr? Sir, did you have your hand? Yeah. Ms. Carr, you're next.
My name is Kofi Amono from Blackwood.
How are you, sir?
Good. I want to revisit the issue of the use of the public park for soccer. There's one point that the two previous speakers did not mention, which I want to do now. That is, I personally feel that we are being pushed around because when the police come, when they call the police on us, they come to the field, they see that even though we are citizens, we were not originally born here. And I think that is one of the reasons why we are being pushed around. Because when the harassment started, I personally wrote a note to the mayor, which I have in my hand now. I asked him to explain why is it that people who play basketball, and first of all, one of the requirements for us to get a permit was to get a personal injury insurance, which the basketball players are not required to. Baseball players are not required to. But if you think about it, anybody can get hurt on the field and sue the township. Even kids playing or mom and child playing around can get hurt. But we don't understand why we have to get personal insurance in order to get a permit.
If I can address, I believe because of the size of the group, Mr. Carla Mayor, if you and I want to go out here and shoot some hoops, we don't have to provide insurance, but I believe that the group has close to, is it 30 members that participate in it?
About that.
So it's somewhat of a league or traveling type league, and that's why that personal insurance has to be provided to the township.
It's not.
Okay, you have a group of 30 or so.
It's not a league. It's a group of individuals who gather for a pickup game. So I'm employing you to work hard and resolve this issue as soon as possible to prove my suspicion wrong. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Have a good evening, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Carr.
And by the way, I have lived in this township for the past 8 years now. I never knew that we had a swimming pool until it was mentioned here.
We have to promote the swimming pool next year. Ms. Carr.
Joanne Carr, Timber Birch. I have a bit of confusion, which is not unusual for me, but I hope you can clear it up for me. You're stating that you have no intent of a tax abatement or a pilot.
Yes.
All right. Yet I read in the patch, it seemed very much that way. How did Mr. Duhart get the impression that there was an abatement coming, that he wrote about it? Because it instigated my going to the school board, it instigated a lot of different things. And if that is not the case, then how did he get so confused to write that article when, in fact, the township is not going to do an abatement?
You may have to ask Mr. Duhart that question.
He's gone.
Ms. Carr, I have the article here, and in the first sentence it states that Gloucester Township is considering offering the developers of Gloucester Premium a payment in lieu of taxes or pilot agreement. And then it goes into how the next paragraph what explains what a pilot agreement is, and it says 25 years. Now, pilot agreements are 30 years. Well, it could go usually 30 years.
I heard you say that earlier.
So then it goes into that this is something that it's not unheard of. Developers get approval for a project and pull out. That's a comment that the mayor said, but also they have a right to apply for a tax abatement under our process here. We offer tax abatements to developers. So that you have to ask Mr. Duhart why he implied that we're offering one. But this area, when there's a redevelopment area, a pilot program comes into play. Correct, Mr. Carlin?
That's a normal course of events.
Yes.
Okay.
They have that option to pursue that.
I'm just working on my communication skills because I find as I get older, they become lacking. And I just wanted to make sure it wasn't me that was confused.
You're keeping up.
And I just wanted to check. Thanks for clearing that up.
Anyway, hold on, I want to get, sir.
Robert Kolkowski, Lincoln Drive in Glen Oaks. I'd like to address a couple of things that were brought up today. In terms of the premium outlets, as such, I do not have a point of being against them. I think they could be very, very beneficial. I do have some concerns about them. One of them was addressed. I'm glad the council went on record as to opposing any tax abatements or pilots. I'm also concerned about the traffic with roadway system that is currently set up there. I take that at least once a week coming off of 42, and I think for the if they expect this project to be as successful as they hope and as it needs to be, driving those roads, I can't see how one lane in each direction would be sufficient for the kind of traffic that they would actually need to be successful. Going back in terms of the abatements and pilots, on the website, glowtip.com/departments/finance/assessor, it says special tax abatements are also available for commercial and industrial properties as an incentive to develop or redevelop in areas in need of rehabilitation. Preliminary application and request for consideration must be presented prior, and prior is all uppercase, to any development application or permit application. Now, has Simon and Predit applied for the development application and permit application?
They submit their application was heard before the planning board. They received the preliminary and final site.
So according to the information from the tax assessor, they should have already applied for the abatement or for the pilot.
I'm a little clear about the timing of that, Mr. Cullen.
Yeah, to answer your question, Tom, I have no knowledge that they made a request at any level of their application scale. I tend to think, because Tom has other information, they have not made an application for a pilot or some type of exemption or abatement. The ordinance and the statute talks about the application for an exemption or abatement has to be made at time of construction. And then approval process goes there. It doesn't talk about beginning of their application process for approvals. It talks about construction.
Okay, so the website is incorrect?
I haven't read the website as to how it reads from the assessor, but the ordinance and statute, to my recollection, I haven't reviewed it because I wasn't aware of all this was coming up, but my recollection is it required from time of construction. Is that
It is prior to construction.
Okay.
That's the preliminary application.
Correct.
And then a final application has to be made within 30 days of the CO.
Correct.
Okay. And since we have been talking about what a big project this would be for the township, has a tax assessor given any preliminary numbers as to how the ratables would change once what they have proposed is built? Because I would think Simon and Predit would want to know going in what their taxes were going to be, and I would like to know if the assessor has given any preliminary ballpark figure as to what the township could expect once that property is transferred from the agricultural to the.
I haven't seen any numbers, an estimate on the parcel of land. Perhaps the land assessed at $10 million, and then you have your buildings. The building, I'm not a tax assessor, but I could try to get some preliminary numbers and provide it to you. If you want to read some information, or come to the next council meeting, we can have that available.
Okay.
And you can project. Nothing set in stone.
No, I'm not saying, but I would think that even Simon and Predit would want to know what their outlay was going to be on taxes before they commit to the project, just because that's going to be one of their yearly expenses.
And also to address the roads. I drive those roads too. When I see Camden County College students leaving class, I try to avoid them. Our application also had to go to the Camden County Planning Board as well. There was some discussion at our I sit on the planning board for the township. There was some discussion about possibly widening the road in that particular area. I'm not sure where it went when it went to Camden County's planning board, but that's something possibly under consideration.
Okay. And to the residents who talked about the recreational opportunities for youths, I live right back here behind in the development, Glen Oaks here. I work down at the southern end of the township, in the Siglerville section, and just driving from here to there, I noticed the lack of recreational opportunities down there other than the community park down there. It just seems that a lot of the stuff is concentrated here. So I do understand what you're saying. However, people are saying, you need bowling alleys, you need theaters. A lot of that has to do with, it's not up to the township to build that. It's up for companies to come in. And unfortunately, the economy of theaters is not there for them to build it. The only new theaters that I heard of possibly being built, they tore down the old AMC in Deptford. There's talk of building an IMAX over in Deptford. The audience for theaters is shrinking because of the ability online to get home entertainment through Netflix, Apple TV. So again, it would be nice to have that, but it's more of a general problem than what the township can deal with. And the same goes for bowling alleys and such like that. A company isn't going to come in and build here when people have admitted they're going someplace else. They're going to look at where people are going and say, can we be successful here with another competitor over in Washington Township or whatever. So yes, I do feel that there do need to be more recreational and entertainment opportunities for not only the youth but for adults here. But again, I can't put that on the council because again, they can offer all the abatements and all the pilots they want. But if it doesn't make sense economically for the theater owners or for the bowling alley owners to come in here, it's all the abatements aren't going to work. So, but I do understand what you're saying because, like I say, I drive that every day, and I just wonder there's like nothing there, and I don't know what the solution to that is, but it's a problem that's going to require a lot more than I think what the council can do tonight or in the near future. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Mr. Colcastro. Anyone else? Ms. Musser?
Linda Musser. I just have a quick question. I could hear some of your comments when you were talking about the abatement, but when that air conditioner is on, it's really hard to hear. So if I'm repeating myself or asking something that you already answered, I apologize in advance. Who has the final say as far as the abatements? I just heard the gentleman say that the applicant generally asks for it when they're coming in for approval. And it's my understanding that they've already been through planning for preliminary and final. On their application to the planning board, did they ask at that time, did they ask the planning board or have anything in their application regarding any kind of an abatement or an adjustment for taxes or any kind of a,
No, and that ask is not made at the planning board. That goes to the tax assessor. The tax assessor then forwards the application to council, and council has the final say on any tax abatement or pilot program.
Okay, so even if they do come back, if they come back and ask for at the time of, if I'm understanding it correctly, I thought Mr. Carlemere had said that when they start the building, they could come in and ask for an abatement or some kind of relief. So
they'll file that with the tax assessor.
Okay, so
they
if
don't
they
go to the planning board. It's tax assessor,
and then the tax assessor comes to council.
Yes.
Okay. Does council have the final say, or could the mayor intervene and override what council wants to say?
Council does the resolution based on the assessor's certification that they met all the criteria. And that's where the law kind of gives council some difficulty, because if they meet all the criteria, some of the case law out there says if they meet all their criteria, it's hard to say no.
So what would their criteria be? What would qualify them to be able to get, I mean, if they're building high end and, it's gone from, obviously if it's going from a farmland assessment which is next to nothing that they're paying in taxes, to somebody coming in and putting high-end malls here, a high-end mall here that is going to bring a profit for someone, I would think that the burden should not be on the taxpayers. I think if anybody needs relief, it is the taxpayers, because if the rooftops can't support that high-end mall, they're going to go out of business. And if they're the ones getting the tax relief and we're getting hit with an increase in taxes again to help pay for the school taxes and everything else that they get relief from, then, you know, those stores aren't going to be successful if the patrons coming from Gloucester Township aren't going to be able to afford to go buy a Coach bag over there.
The assessor's office has a whole list of criteria for the 5-year abatement program that is in line with what the New Jersey statute says. So you can secure that from the tax assessor's office.
You don't know what the...
There's A through H of a list of them, I'm sure. I don't, like I say, I didn't know this whole question was coming up tonight to brief out the statute, but there's the statute sets forth the jurisdictional requirement that the ordinance has to say. The municipal ordinance goes back to 1995 and was amended, I believe, in 2008 or 2009 to include other type of development. And that ordinance implements the statute. The statute gives the authority to the assessor to evaluate the applications. That's where they go. And the assessor then approves the application. It comes to the governing body for a resolution authorizing the acceptance of the financial contract or the abatement program. And then council votes on the resolution.
Okay, but council has the final say, and
Yes.
I know, Orlando, you spoke that you are not interested in giving any kind of an abatement, but I don't know how the rest of the council feels about it, and I think that they should be very thoughtful in the fact that, you know, if this developer or any developer comes in and asks for that, I don't think it should be given. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gilbert, Mr. Kaufman, then we're in the public portion.
Mr. McCall, I just want to put a face to what I just was telling you all about. This is one of the youth that was at the ministry. She's also Catholic, but she comes to my ministry as well because there's a place to come that's wholesome, that's for the young people. And she was one of the ones that tried to commit suicide and was cutting herself. This is why I'm saying, I'm hearing a lot of people talking about bowling alleys and roller skating rinks and different things. I'm asking for a place to take these young people on a given night that I can feed them. I'll feed them out of my own pocket, but a place that I can take them and give them the balance that they need so that when these issues and the different things that they're struggling with as young people, I have no other place to take them, that they can be strong enough to get through this and have people on their side that they can trust and be able to go through things and know that taking your life is not the answer. So when I tell you that I'm coming down here and I'm at your mercy, asking you to please help me, thank God I have the evidence here. And this is what I do. This is one of the 5. So I'm not asking you for a roller skating rink. I'm not asking for, because somebody was looking at me. I'm coming here for a building for young people. And I want them to have a place to come that's wholesome, a place that I can make them, so I know they're going to be productive for society. And here she is. I named her Cupcake. She's making cakes, okay? And she's going into culinary. And if you see her cakes, they're extraordinary. She just got an opportunity to make a cake coming up for a christening. So it's working. So that's why I'm asking, please don't forget me.
I'm not going to forget you.
Thank you.
And bring a cake. What's your name again? Cupcake. Cupcake. Okay. Mr. Kaufman? Am I correct, Mr. Kaufman? Your name?
Yes, Daniel Coughlin, Turnersville, New Jersey. Certainly support the young lady that spoke last and all the help she's providing the youth of this town. But just back to the premium outlets, there's a few things that I just wanted to maybe add my voice to again. Actually, the fact that it's a redevelopment zone gives this council more control and more power over that process.
Yes.
Because you can determine if it is in fact for the public good. So don't act like it ties your hands. It releases your hands and gives you more authority. Now it is a redevelopment zone. Do you have a redevelopment plan?
Yeah, redevelopment plan is redevelopment agreement as well.
Okay. Now, does that redevelopment plan include certain tax incentives built in even into individual investors that might rent out a retail space? I believe it does, because Washington Township does.
I haven't taken a look at that agreement since we ratified that.
I would have to say I don't believe it does that.
Okay, well, it may. And if you give a tax abatement, I know we're using the word pilot, but we're actually talking about a tax abatement, that would actually increase the likelihood that people would get easier bank credits. So in other words, they're going to be bad risks. I shouldn't use the word bad risk, but not as sound risks that may apply in there. And there's another point that I want to make, because you sort of got a little starry-eyed, if I may, about talking about this Simon Group and the success that they've had. But when businesses are that big, they actually get investment tax credits. So if they can show that they invested so much of their profits into new developments, it's actually less of a risk for them to build new places. I'm not saying they want them to fail. Obviously, they don't. But they're not taking as big a risk as you think. And especially coupled with the fact that of those built-in tax incentives that I just talked about that's in a redevelopment zone, this is lowering the risk of those individual investors. And what it make is you may get people in there that aren't as qualified or sound or raked over the coals by their banking institution like a normal investor. They're more of a risk. Okay, so the idea that this is going to succeed, we don't have a crystal ball here. You don't know that. Okay, they might pull out in a year. The young lady who spoke talked about Superfresh, right, as an example. So there's plenty of retail developments here. Redevelopment zones are made for the public good. You as a body deciding what's in the best interest of the public. I don't believe this is. Thank
Mr.
you.
Kaufman, I disagree. It's in the best interest of the residents of Gloucester Township. And yes, I may be a little starry-eyed, because this is the biggest economic development project in the history of the township, in Gloucester Township, not Turnersville, not Washington Township where you reside, sir. For the residents of this township, here's an opportunity to take a property that is farmland assessed. We need revenue in this township, sir.
I understand.
This is the first time you've come to this meeting, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, okay, if you feel so confident that the residents of Gloucester Township agree with you that this is good for their town, put it up for a referendum then. Let them decide.
Law doesn't permit that.
Sure it does. Sure it does. We're not talking about the pilot. I'm not talking about the pilot.
Sir, we're not doing a pilot. We're not doing a tax abatement. You keep going back to that, Mr.
Well, I know, because it was mentioned as if you're considering it.
No.
Okay, well, okay, so you denied the pilot.
This is the third time I've told you no, Mr. Clark.
I know, but I've seen Groundhog Day before. New issues come up, and the town councils continue to debate certain issues. They come up again and again. It's not like they're solved in one hearing.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening. Our last one, Ms. Brown.
I'm not going to pursue the outlet thing anymore. It's
We beat that.
redundant. What I want to say is, I'm from Philadelphia, and the politicians in Philadelphia are compassionate and respectful. They don't condescend, I'm not saying you, to the constituents in the community, but I'm getting an air of whatever that word is. I'm getting an air from some of the people here on council, as if we are the little people and you're going to tell us what you're going to do and we either like it or not. Okay, in Philadelphia, they respect the constituents, they listen to the constituents. If I call my congressman, my councilperson, my senator, and I tell them, me and a host of other people, what we don't want to happen, they go with that flow. okay? You made a mention about my in-kind contributions, okay? And I told you, we're working on a shoestring. We're grassroots, okay? And I need y'all to understand that. That's where I come from, and that's where I'm stomping, on the grass, for the roots, okay? My life is a struggle like everybody in this community. And I've been walking the communities and I see for sale signs. I see notes from banks on doors. And you're bringing in things that are not going to allow a homeowner to stay here. They're leaving in numbers, okay? People are just saying, I'm out. And that's not what you want. You want people to be here to enjoy this big project. But it's not going to be a win-win, okay? And I'm like the little people, you know, I'm struggling, I'm unemployed, I'm going through some things, okay? So I won't see myself going to that outlet, okay? Whatever you want to say to me or come after me for, bring it, okay? I call in my community for assistance with the police department. It works, okay? Our police department here in Gloucester Township, they work. They do what they're paid to do versus sleeping at the wheel, literally, okay? So again, you guys, you council people, y'all need to get yourself together and you've got to start treating these people like they mean something to you or you're not going to have anybody to come into that outlet to buy a Coach handbag. And Voorhees ain't doing so well. You got like 2,000 apartments over there. The town center is empty. I've been in there. There's no stores having any business. They're not making it. And like the gentleman said, it's just a tax thing for these people. It's an investment. They don't care if they make it or not. They can write it off. But don't write us off. Thank you.
Thank you. We go to the public portion.
The live stream's down, Orlando.
Excuse me?
The live stream is down. That's the point I was going to make.
Okay.
After the public portion is down. Can you put subtitles up? So when the audio goes out, you can still hear what's being heard, what's being said? And hearing impaired might be helped by that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Pulling the directors.
Mr. Maffa?
Nothing reported this time.
Chief Earl?
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Vice President. Good evening, Council. Just wanted to thank you for your participation last week, National Night Out. And that was our largest National Night Out ever, with some more stops. And there's actually a leader of one of our larger events here tonight, which I can't identify. But I was having a conversation with her before. It was one of our first stops last year, nearly 175 people. So it was a really proud night for Gloucester Township. But again, thank you for that. And also today, we're wrapping up our Junior Police Academy Week, 85 children participated in that, and during the past 4 weeks they've collected items for the Ronald McDonald House and they were delivered today, and it was really quite a sight to see all of the belongings that they brought and delivered there to the city of Camden to help all those children and families in the hospital. So just wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief.
Mr. Crowlemere?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cardis?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes. There's been a lot said tonight about tax abatement. So far, nothing has been brought to council on this subject, and I would not normally be in favor of any pilot type abatement. And until we receive something, an application from the builder to request this type of service, there's nothing we can do about it. But so far, nothing has been said or presented to council on this subject. Gloucester Township is no different than most of the towns in this area. A lot of the towns, they have vacant buildings. The Township Council, we can zone the property for commercial use, but it's up to the commercial business to bring the business into the township. We can do whatever we can to try to persuade them to come in, but we can't just make a company bring a bowling alley or a theater into the township. We can make it available to them, but we can't make them come into the township. And we will continue to work with commercial companies to try to get business into the township. and do whatever we can to make use of the facilities that are here in the township. That's all I have.
Mrs. Trotter?
I was a little taken back when the gentleman that would play the soccer had no idea that we had a community pool available to the residents of Gloucester Township. And then when Ms. Klein said about there's not enough for the youth to do in the township. And I understand that people might want a bowling alley or a movie theater or a skating park, roller rink. But I think there is a lot for the youth of this township to take part in. It may not be what your particular child wants to be a part of, but I took a minute and started to think of things that my kids have been involved in, some of these things, but Gloucester Township alone has different community programs available to the families and the youth of Gloucester Township. Main Stage has an excellent program available to anyone that's interested. We have the different camps that are offered by the rec center, and they're not all sports oriented. We have the community pool, we have movie nights, we have the scouting organizations that are always looking for children to be involved. We have the police academy, which my son just completed last week, and it was phenomenal. I cannot recommend that program or say more good things about it. It was phenomenal. But they also have the Citizen Police Academy for the older youth. They also have the Family Resource Center. When they spoke about the youth with the suicide and all that, we also have the new Family Resource Center. We also have all the dance studios in the township that offer so many different programs there. We have the youth organizations in the churches. We have the school clubs, we have the school bands, we have the library programs, and we also have the sports and recreation programs. But I think there's a lot of opportunity to keep our children busy in this township, and hopefully more people will take advantage of it. Some cost, some don't. Thank you.
Mrs. Winters?
I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming out. I did participate in the National Night Out. It was very funny. It was great to see the communities come together, and some of them put together some phenomenal street events. The participation was wonderful. Thank you.
Mr. Mercado?
Kudos to our police department, Lieutenant Barton, Corporal Grannon, and all those involved with our community policing department. When this was first created, when the mayor took office, this is something that is close and dear to Chief Earl's heart, that our police are part of our community, and people need to feel comfortable around them and not fear them or be afraid of them. And it started off with baseball cards. It started with our community events, with our National Night Out, and engaging our citizens in our community. And my son also just did the police academy. He has no interest in being a cop. None. He wants to be a meteorologist. But he was interested in dusting for prints. He was interested in going through the police department and seeing the different things that go on throughout the township. And the relationships that he created over this past week with our police officers and the different people that came in, that's something he's going to remember for the rest of his life. So community policing does work in our community. Thank you, Harry, and thank you, Corporal Grannon and Lieutenant Barton. Also to add to that, there was an incident this past week on Burling Crosskeys Road at the Target. And as soon as that happened, I was saying to myself, we're going to get this guy. And the following day, Chief, we got the guy. And so kudos to you again for your department, the fine work that you do here. We have no doubt that when something happens here, that our police is going to respond to it appropriately and swiftly. So thank you very much. Recently, this past Thursday, we had movie night at the park. Mr. Moffat, you and your recreation department did a wonderful job. Oz was the movie. It was 2 hours long, but it was a wonderful movie for our family. About 200 people were out there in our park. And I want to thank the clerk for your work this evening. Mr. Josie's out on vacation. On the outlets, I serve on the planning board. And as a planning board member, I sat through approximately 6 hours of testimony on this project. Ins and outs of this project. That's why I can spit out the square footage, the amount of stores, the amount of investment that's going to take place on this particular project. We had a redevelopment meeting in March where they sat before the council. It was advertised to the public, and they presented their project. In May, they received a preliminary and final site approval. In July, there was an amendment to it because they had to come in with their signage. This is a big project for our community. And rather than, there are folks that perhaps don't see this opportunity or how big of an opportunity it is for our community. Again, taking a farmland assessed property, bringing in $2,200 to having it possibly assessed at land at over $10 million and having buildings that are assessed in excess of that. Here's an opportunity. We need revenue, something that Mr. Carter always pounds into our head. We need revenue in this community. Here's an opportunity for a bite of the apple. With that, thank you for coming out. Have a good evening. Entertain a motion. Excuse me.
Second.
Roll call. All in favor?
No problem. I'll get in touch with you first. That's okay.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Sam.
Always an issue. Yep. Yeah, it feels like it. It's really 100 years ago. Yeah, it's in the 90s. Yeah. It's in the 90s.
Thank you much. I appreciate
I'm offended because you know all the stuff that we've done and all the things that we do.
Hey, how are you?
And it's not to grow and it's companies do.
Yes.
You got your kid? I do.
No, thank you for it. Good taste.
Yeah, which one? They said the volume one block. No, it's going to be the top block. That one doesn't work. Unless somebody locked them out.
Come here, I need Joe needs this to send to the state.
You're all dressed up.